They gonna probably copyright this. I don't give a shit. It's your boy Savar Matner, fresh from the gym, had a good time today. And yesterday I did a continuation of the GT bullshit that I've been arguing with about. Now, I left some stuff out intentionally yesterday because I figured I would get one or two individuals that no matter what you put on the screen, they're not going to believe it. And some people have a legit reading comprehension problem. Straight up. They lack of understanding is not where it needs to be. I give you an example. And remember this story. This will tie back in here in a second. Let's say you own a car, right? And you let your buddy take your car. You trust your buddy. Your buddy asks you to use the car, and you say, yeah, man, I trust you. Take the car. Just be careful. Use it for as long as you want. I ain't got nothing going on here. I got 2 or 3 cars. You can do what you got to do, drive whatever, right? Car's in your name. It's your fucking vehicle, right? Your friend decide to take the motherfucking car and go break the motherfucking law. Rob a store, right? I'm just going to throw it out there. Just rob a fucking store, okay? He gets away, but they find your fucking car. Okay? Now, here you is at the house on the shitter, mind your fucking business, and you get a knock at your fucking door, and you go downstairs, and it's like fucking 10 cops at your door. 1-0, where have you been the last few hours? And then they ask you, do you know who had your vehicle? Can you give us a name? Now, you know it's your friend, but you don't want to give a name. Okay, and my watch and drive stopped. Sorry about that. So you hear a little buzz in the background, watch and drive. But you don't want to give a name. Okay? But what you do to downplay shit, because people are mad, right? Dude broke the law. Law's mad. Store he robbed, the clerk's mad. Store owner's mad. People are fucking pissed. They want this guy, right? They want this guy here, but they're coming to you because the car is your shit. So by default, you know who done it. But then you go, nah, I don't know if I can make some few phone calls. Now you calling people that probably don't know where your friend is. But you know where your friend is, but you call and act like you're doing something. You know, we call that damage control, to take some heat off of your motherfucking ass. Okay? Then ultimately, after a few years, you contradict your fucking self. And then you finally admit you knew where your friend was when you're standing in the motherfucking courtroom or some shit. So you won't face no fucking jail time. Right? Reason why I said all that is simple. People always say what Toriyama called GT a side story. That is true. He did call it a side story. However, a side story doesn't mean that it's not canon. And I'll show you. A side story doesn't mean that it is not canon to the actual series, period. A side story can absolutely be considered canon to a series as long as it is officially recognized by the creators and fits within the established timeline and universe of the main story. Now, why is that even more important, you say? Well, before we get to that, let's go and find out, did Akira Toriyama ever say that GT was not canon? Okay? Akira Toriyama, let me go back up here. Uh-oh. My bad. Thought I had shared it. For some reason, it cut the motherfucker off. There we go. My bad, guys. For some reason, that happened. Akira Toriyama never said that GT was not canon. In fact, he has considered part of the franchise and approved of the series. Period. Akira Toriyama, the creator of the original Dragon Ball manga, has considered Dragon Ball GT to be part of the franchise. Why is that? You remember that story I just told you? Let's click on the statement. Let's click on a message from Toriyama. Now, this came out in 2005, and I have the original GT box sets. Okay? And I remember this being in there. Okay? My sincerest gratitude to all of those who brought this Dragon Ball GT DVD box set. I got this highlight, but I'm going to take it off real quick, okay? Being a lazy bum by nature, I was absurdly happy when I managed to safely finish up Dragon Ball serialization. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, okay? And finally be released from Deadline Hell. The TV anime people wanted to continue for just a little bit more. Notice, they didn't say they wanted to tell a new story that not part of the timeline. They just want to continue the story because they feel like it was more left to be said. But I just couldn't do any more than that. And so I left the Dragon Ball anime completely up to the staff, story and all. That was Dragon Ball GT. Notice the connection. The creator of the franchise, who also called it a side story, recognized that it is part of the original Dragon Ball. I'll get that in a second. He don't have to say that it's canon. He deemed it so with his own words here in a second. This message right here, if this was to go to court, would incriminate Akira Toriyama. He was alive if he said it wasn't canon. He just told a big ass lie. And car lingo, GT means Gran Turismo, a fast, high-powered car, in other words. But in this case, I had GT mean Gran Touring. A great journey, since the scenario was that they'll be running around the universe. The idea of Super came from GT. For GT, don't care if he did one thing or a lot of things, how big or how small, he had involvement. That's why he is credited at the end, because of what he said at the last sentence. All I did was just come up with the title, that alone makes it canon. He named the damn show. Designed the initial main cast and some machines. Forgot the S, but okay. And also do a few images. He designed the initial main cast. However, I was able to rest easily handing things over to the excellent staff who continued on Dragon Ball for all this time. Notice, Dragon Ball, the franchise. When we say Dragon Ball, we talking about Dragon Ball Z, and GT. Continued on. Continue means continuity. That's what you're continuing. You're not starting over. You're continuing the story. That alone is also incriminating to Akira Toriyama. See, some of y'all have a reading comprehension. Continue means continuity. You are continuing something. He could have said they wanted to do something completely new apart from the storyline. He didn't. In particular, the animator Nakashiru is extremely skilled and mastered the particularities. I'm tongue-tied, guy. I went through training today. The particularities. I'm not even gonna try. I am tongue-tied of my drawings in no time at all. To the point where there were even times when I couldn't tell whether I have drawn a certain character design or if I had. For instance, one of Nakashiru's design was Super Saiyan 4, which appears in GT, and the picture above is a portrait that I drew looking off of it. Did I draw it well? I can't believe the I can't pronounce that word. I'm sorry, guys. Today's one of the fucking days. But anyway, this is the damning evidence. Dragon Ball GT is a grand side story of the original Dragon Ball. Can a side story be canon? Absolutely. If the creators acknowledge that it flows in the original timeline, the original Dragon Ball. It's not a side story not pertaining to the original storyline. And it'll make me happy for us to watch it and enjoy it together. We call this damage. I can't believe I can't pronounce this word today. Where the fuck is it at? Holy shit, I can't pronounce whole fucking big ass words. Oh Lord. I'm not even gonna start today. I'm not even gonna start. It pretty much means the fine details. I know what the word means. For some reason, I just can't pronounce it today. You know, you guys get fucking brain fog and you can't pronounce certain words. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, y'all gonna get a laugh like, oh, this motherfucker can't pronounce the fucking word. the particular Aries. I don't even fucking know. I can't even. Anyway, so now back to what I was saying. I just hope you guys are getting a good laugh out of this. Back to what I was saying. That last statement, we call that damage control. He says a side story. He didn't want to say it was canon. He called it a side story for that particular reason. Now, why is that important? And why can a side story be canon? Well, this is why. I showed this yesterday. I'm going to go to Reddit real quick. And then Reddit pops up. Okay. This timeline sparked a whole new conversation. This came out in 2017. Remember now, Akira Toriyama was still alive in 2017. He could have said, no, put GT down here like a tangent. Instead, Dragon Ball starts in 749. It ends in like 889. GT. And it flows 784, 789. It flows on the same timeline. That's the super era right now. This is all super. Okay? Daima now all of a sudden is going to fit right in here whenever they decide to do Daima. Because it's before Super and after Boo. So right in here, 774, that's 774 to 778, this 5-year gap, whatever, that's going to be where fucking Daima is. Okay? Now, originally, GT picked up, was it maybe a little bit low? Yeah, GT picked up 10 years, actually, 774. No, about 5 years. Yeah, about 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. Not Super GT picked up 5 years after the continuum story. But anyway, don't want to get sidetracked. That timeline by Shueisha, the acknowledgement that Dragon Ball GT followed the original story of Dragon Ball makes it canon. Whether you guys like it or not, it makes it fucking canon. Why? According to official statements from Shueisha and Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball GT considered canon within the Dragon Ball universe, despite not being directly written by Toriyama, because it is seen as a continuation of the Dragon Ball Z story. Period. Taking place after the manga's ending and including in the official Dragon Ball timeline released by the publisher. However, it is important to note that while considered canon, many fans debate its relevancy due to significant differences in story and power scaling. Super is totally different. But Akira Toriyama said the original Dragon Ball. Shueisha gave you a timeline. Toriyama called a side story that's still canon. A side story A side story would be Tarble. Oh, yo, Son Goku and friends, right? Tarble. Or the Bardock spinoff where Bardock fought against Chill. That would be a side story. So, all that evidence, plus this one. And I don't care about these sources. I know for a fact you can't really trust CBR and stuff, but it doesn't matter. They both consider it canon. No matter how you fans feel, they own the rights. Bird Studios, Akira Toriyama studio, they own the rights. Matter of fact, Akira Toriyama had a art show or some shit, and he also had the timeline. So it doesn't matter what you fans think. It doesn't matter that you think it's not canon. It's canon. Another reason why they made it. Oh, yeah, right here. You couldn't even see it. That. You couldn't see the statement. Another reason why they made it canon was simply because of merchandise. I can close all this shit out now. I don't want to keep all these things open. Simply merchandise. I can't believe I couldn't pronounce that word. Particularities. Particularities. Well, it just means small, fine details. You know, maybe the word misspelled. I'm like, peculiarities. God damn it. I knew I was going to get it busy. For some reason, you just can't pronounce the word. Peculiarities. Yeah, peculiarities. Anyway, just fine-tuning the drawings. Y'all can get a laugh out of it. See, it came to me out there like, why can't I pronounce this fucking word? Like, I can't even read today. What the fuck? So it doesn't matter. To the guy that kept saying, he didn't write it. So I asked this question as well yesterday. Since Akira Toriyama is dead now, he's not going to have any involvement at all with Super if it continues. Not a drawing, not a villain, not a story, nothing. If he didn't finish Super before he died and wrote the story before he died, then that means it falls on Torotaro. Torotaro is not Akira Toriyama. Period. Notice I asked about Akira Toriyama. He is the creator. Okay? Does that still make Super canon? He's not having the involvement anymore. Does that make it canon? And you know what the guy said? Well, Torotaro, he's Akira Toriyama's successor, and he's gonna tell the story that Toriyama wanted. Toriyama's dead. Toriyama has no input. He doesn't know the story Toriyama wanted. But notice you brought up Torotaro. I said Akira Toriyama. And you go back. I'm not gonna give you the credit on the screen. Because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna come in again and say the same shit. It will still be canon because it falls in the continuity timeline. And it also flows from Z. It doesn't matter if Akira Toriyama is going to be signed off anything. The same thing with GT that he did have some involvement in. Oh, and his name on the credits at the end of GT that I put little posters up there, pictures yesterday in the video. I understand he had to be credited. Why? Because they sourced it from the original manga. Everything about GT came from Z. They used the original source to come up with the continuation of the story for the original timeline. Of course, at the end, based on the original Dragon Ball story by Akira Toriyama. In court, that would be damning. Because if Akira Toriyama didn't want to be canon, his name shouldn't be in the credits. He was like, oh, no, it's not canon. That alone makes it canon. It's based on the original story. Not original story told like when it's Akira Toriyama writing it, like how Super come on, how Dragon Ball Z, the original story by Akira Toriyama. It's based on the original story. That means it's based on the original timeline, and that means it has continuity. And chronologically, it's canon to Z and only Z. Now, finally, like I discussed in my video yesterday, if you watch all of Z, then GT is canon to that timeline. If you stop Z after Boo and fill Daima in there, because Daima is kin to Z immediately after Boo, but before Super. So Daima is kin to Z and Super. It bridges that gap. That was Toriyama's version of a GT. And then you watch Super. You don't watch the rest of Z because it's not going to make sense. And Super isn't going to flow in the GT. Super is going to end completely different than Z. I've been saying this for years, but y'all say I know the fuck I was talking about. It's going to end differently because of all of the new transformations and new characters and new people in the new story. Super might end 10 years after the tournament of Z. It might end 20 years. But it's not going to affect the original big three: Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. Those were the big three. So if you want to watch GT, you have to watch Z all the way up until the tournament. And then GT picks up from there. If you don't, and you try to watch Super then GT, it's not going to make fucking sense. That's how it's canon. That's how all that's canon. Whether you guys like it or not. Facts doesn't care about your feelings. In the court of law, I'll be right. Find me an attorney that will look at what I just showed and say, oh, no, he's not right. Original means original. Once again, those lacking in reading comprehension and understanding skills need not to try to argue this. You're going to make yourself look really fucking stupid. Really fucking stupid. Shueisha deemed it canon. Toriyama deemed it canon. I bet you if Geetham would have said this, y'all would have argued it. If Blackskate would have said, y'all can argue it. Why? Those are big Dragon Ball YouTubers, of course. Their word is gold. Their word is gold. But they haven't said either or. Not that I'm aware of. Because if they do, they're going to get backlash. But it is indeed true. So, I'm not going to mention this again about GT. I am done with GT. You guys can argue all you want in the comment section. I done provided all the evidence. It doesn't matter at this point. Akira Toriyama pretty much contradicted his own self when he said that Dragon Ball is a grand side story of the original Dragon Ball, or to the original Dragon Ball. Original means just that, original. He seen the script. He knew exactly about the show. He acknowledged the show. He helped with the show. He is credited on the fucking show. For the longest, it was the only thing after Z. It was the big three. It's just the fans got mad because they made Goku a kid and Akira Toriyama didn't write the story. Toei did. But Toei owned the rights, just like Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So Toei decided to get permission to use the original sourcing material to create something that will follow the original storyline. Boom. Canon. Without him even having to say anything else. A judge would agree. Shueisha would agree. Toei would agree. Bird Studios would agree. Akira Toriyama's agree. Now, y'all have fun with that. If you still is in denial, that just means you ain't got nothing better to do but just deny that you were wrong. You've been wrong for fucking almost 30 fucking years. And people like me been right since we've been saying this for years. Just like the Gogeta and Vegito thing. We were correct. But we were called, no, you don't fuck about it. We was correct. Just like Beast Gohan was supposed to be stronger than Goku, but in the manga, Gohan couldn't best Goku. Gohan had to use all his power to try to hit Goku. And Goku took it like a champ and got up and brushed it off. Vegeta would have waxed Gohan's ass. Are you kidding me? Oh, but ain't what the gods say. Well, ain't what that manga chapter showed us. Anyway, this been your boy Shamar Matter. Peculiarities. I couldn't believe. I'm from the South, guys. I'm tongue-tied. My mouth is tight from lifting weights, muscles tight. Peculiarities. Yeah, for some reason I couldn't pronounce the word. I gotta laugh. I needed that laugh today. I couldn't even read today. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Anyway, guys, it's been your boy Shamar Matter. I'll be back to live stream probably tomorrow. We're going to talk about politics and some other shit. Friday, I will be reviewing episode 19 of Dragon Ball Daima, video format only. And then next week, we're going to talk about some other shit. And I don't want to mention any anime next week unless it's some good type tier fucking anime. I need a break from Dragon Ball. I'm not a Dragon Ball channel. I need a break from fucking Dragon Ball. Anyway, guys, you guys stay safe. I got to go feed these arms because I worked out today. I got to go feed these boys. And get ready for the rest of my evening. Making fish tonight. Can't wait. And you all take care of me. Boys, for Matner. I'm out, everyone. Dragon Ball GT is canon. Deal with it, motherfuckers. Peace.